Okie dokie nerds, welcome to another vintage video. Today we're going to play some Dredge. After much perusing of the Outlaws of Thunder Junction spoiler, the best card I came up with for Bazaar is Terror of the Peaks. So we're going to play some of that today. Initially this tech came out from, I think it was called Ben Weinberg in Eternal Weekend 23 over in North America. They just missed top 8, but there is a match of them on coverage where they do some pretty sick stuff. The only changes I've really made is I've made space for these 4 Poxwalkers here. To do that, I've trimmed a Therapy, I've trimmed a Dread Return, and I've trimmed a Street Wraith and a Bridge. Okay, and that's going to make space for our Poxwalkers, which gives us a bit more of like a mid-rangey plan. We don't have to go all in on these Grizzlebrands and Terrors. But the general idea of the deck is you activate Bazaar of Baghdad, discard a Dredger, which replaces our draw step, which quickly turns our deck upside down. When our deck's upside down, Narcomoebas come into play, Icarids come into play, these guys cause Amalgams to come into play. If we cast a Therapy, we get all of our Poxwalkers back into play. And then at that point we can Dread Return, targeting a Grizzlebrand if our deck is not yet upside down. If our deck is upside down, we can Dread Return a Terror of the Peaks, which is like a Pandemonium on a 5/4 dragon. And then once we've Dread Returned the Terror, we can then Dread Return something like the Grizzlebrand or just a very, very big Grave Troll and punch them in the face. So that's going to be the general plan. 3 Sickling Shoals post board. I've been liking 4, but we'll stick with 3. And yeah, the rest of it's just like the normal nonsense. 4 ley lines for other Bazaar matchups, 4 Vigors to kill other people's ley lines, Wastelands kill Sagas and Tabernacles, and Bazaars. All very standard stuff, just a slightly different take on the main deck. You come off of all the blue nonsense and just add in dope dragons and dope demons. So I'll see you for round 1 in just a moment. Okay, round 1, I'm up against Kenzaburo, who I think I'm 0-X against Lifetime. They are always on some sort of blue bug style standstill wasteland control deck, which we've very rarely got a good game against. We're going to find our Bazaar though, so I'm going to powder this and I'm going to keep the Terror in the deck just because that's the main event. And here we've got ourselves a nice little start. The Street Race help you go a little bit harder and a little bit faster. And the opponent has got Wasteland into Soul Ring, so that's nice. That's nice for us. So our Bazaar's dead. We're going to need to find a Noxious and resolve a Noxious to get anywhere. However, if we can hit a Dredger here, this Street Wraith will do some solid work for us. And that's really interesting actually, isn't it, the grief? How do we want to play this? I think I'm going to Bazaar first because I want to get this. I kind of don't want to be pitching the Icarid. I want to get the Bridge in the graveyard. So I think I'm just going to play and activate and see if I hit 2 Dredgers or something like that. A black card we can afford to pitch. So Poxwalkers, Shambling Shell. So maybe it's Icarid, Shambling Shell, Bridge from below to go. And then we'll grief pitching Poxwalkers. We know we're getting wasted, but we're just going to hope that this does some work. So this will get through. We'll see Kenzaburo's hand. They've got Tinker, Time Twister, Lauren Revealed, Hole Breacher. I don't like any of that. I think we've got to take Tinker though, right? Because Tinker just kills us dead. So we'll take Tinker. And then we'll just get. They might just twist on their turn, I don't know. But we certainly can't let them have this hand like it is. Twister's going to reset the game, and that's really not good for us. Hole Breacher is going to be a massive issue. But I feel like the game plan is just to get them dead before they can assemble those 2 cards. But Tinker next turn would just end the game, right? I think that all makes sense. So pray to kill them. So let's Tinker, and then I guess we Dredge in response to this as well, so in case we hit more bridges. So let's Dredge this Shambling Shell. We didn't hit another bridge, but we did hit a Dread Return. which could be big for us next turn, although we missed on dredges, which is going to be problematic. So bridge triggers. We've got some nice food for our Icarid next turn. They're going to wasteland us, and then we're going to draw step. Yeah, no, that's horrific. Missing on dredges there was a real big issue. So what do we get next turn? We get an Icarid trigger. We get to attack for 6. And then we get to dread return something if we want to. So they're going to roll out the whole breacher, which makes sense. We can dread return the grief actually, can't we? Oh, we've still got a Bazaar of Baghdad. I didn't expect that at all. Oh yeah, they've got treasure tokens. Alright, that makes sense. But that's fine. So we can eat a Street Wraith. We can dredge a Shambling Shell, which is at least better. What happens if we go to combat and attack for 6? They block. We lose our dread returns. We lose our bridge. I can't talk. We lose our bridge, but we get to take their Time Twister, right? Because they block the Icarid. I make a bridge token. Dread return grief. Take your Time Twister. They're never blocking because of the whole breacher. And we get a Poxwalker's back as well for free. So unless they've drawn Force of Will to go with that Lorien that we know about, we should be in actually an amount of shape, which won't be embarrassing. So these nerds can all die. We'll get 2 2/2s and a Poxwalker. If the grief resolves, then they don't have a Time Twister. And we're gaming, I think. So these are the nerds. They didn't get a Force of Will. Take your Time Twister. They have drawn Urza's Saga, but their hand is Urza's Saga, Lorien, and that's that. So the main threat is, well, okay, cool. The main threat was kind of dealt with. Ancestral could still be very good. Kind of curious about the absence of the Wasteland activation last turn. I don't know what that was about. Because it would let me get my Dredger back on. Otherwise I was just drawing cards until I get to 7, right? So they found a top off their Ancestral. And they're going to activate the top. So we have got a Thug going, so they're never going to get more treasures off this Bazaar. The Tinker, Twist and Ancestral have all gone, so I think that's probably like their best cards have gone. The Twist was a real big threat there, but we were able to fortunately come up with a line around it. I guess the big risk of my line though actually was if they just trade Whole Breach with the 2/2, then they get to Wasteland me and Twist me, which gets rid of my graveyard and might leave me without a Bazaar. So they've got one unknown card, which doesn't appear to be a Time Vault. So that's all great. We get an Icarid back into play, but we'd have to eat our Thug. So I think how much damage is this actually? 10, 13, so it's not lethal, so I'll decline for now. And then we'll dredge a Thug. And we didn't really hit anything there. Missed on dredges again, and we're playing max dredges as well, which is kind of wild. But in we go with the squad. They block a Poxwalker, so we'll replace that with a zombie token. Opponent's graveyard can resolve second. So we get a zombie token, and now it is lethal next turn. Unless they take infinite turns, of course. So they've got a Lorien in hand, so they've got access to another draw 3. But the pressure's definitely on. Icarid will eat the Poxwalker next turn, and then we'll take a regular run-in-the-mill draw step. And opponent's cycling the Lorien at this stage, which is certainly a thing that they can do. So they get a shuffle, so they're looking for Time Vault exactly. And I think this looks like a decent spot. Obviously they've got looks and stuff, but I think we're doing okay. The Icarid makes it a bit harder for them to put forward blockers or what have you. But okay, draw step, they take a draw. They're going to get another look, so we have to look at another 1 this turn after their shuffle. And that's going to be that, I think. Well, yeah, the game's ending this turn, right? They're dead on our turn, or we're dead now. So Tinkers with Wastelands and Underground Seas. We haven't seen anything else to identify another colour in their deck. They've not got Lurus, so we can pretty much assume ley lines will be part of their post-board plan. And opponents just thinking about what they want to do and how they want to do it. I feel like we've been kind of unlucky to miss that hard on dredges. Oh, actually, no, we did a bunch of powdering at the beginning of the game, didn't we? So how many dredges did we get rid of them? No, not many. Not many at all. So one of the bridges went at that point as well. So opponents taking their additional look. They got to see one extra card with that activation of top. It's just whether one of them is, in fact, a Time Vault. They've got another as a Saga. Time Walk would give them another look. Another Lorium would give them another... Well, it doesn't really give them another look, right, without a Mox. I think they've made their land drop. Yeah, they Saga'd. So now it's really tough because Time Vault doesn't get there. It would have to be Time Vault and Time Walk. And they're dead. Cool. So a lot of spinning their wheels at the end there. But post-board, we're going to want these strips. We're going to want these Vigors. I think when we want these Vigors, we do want this additional Noxious as well. What does that mean in terms of our Dread return plan, though? Does that mean our Dread return plan's just off and gone? Or are we thinking like we trim Griefs and we trim Poxwalker? Something like this. So that'd be 6 cards. I need 2 more cards to cut. The Street Wraith is like part of the whole joke, but there's only one of them, so it doesn't matter that much. And then I think I'm usually happy trimming dredges. I think we'll start with this as our plan, just so that we can maintain playing the Terror of the Peaks package and the Dread Return package. So yeah, we'll keep it like this for now. Okay, game 2, and we've got ourselves a Bazaar of Baghdad at the very least on 7, which is going to give us enough to... Well, I was going to say it's going to give us the power to go and find our Vigor, but opponent has got a no leyline hand, which is nice. A Vigor wouldn't go amiss though, but it looks like they've got quite the opener. So Crypt Sapphire Jet, and have you got more power? That's the question. So cycles a Lorien to find hopefully just an Underground Sea, because Tundra's scary. Yeah, just Underground Sea. And then a Nihil Spellbomb. Okay, so we need to kind of like work out how we play around the Spellbomb. They've got 2 cards left in hand after this. Hull Breach would be a bit of a disaster for us, but there's not much we can do against that. So let's give it a spin. Yeah, no peg costs. So that's just a Bowmasters. Bowmasters is annoying, but we can cope, right? So, and they've still got the Spellbomb. So what do we want to do? I think we'll discard Icarid Shell, Prized Amalgam, and see if that's enough to tempt. We've got a Noxious to bring something back out of our graveyard. Hopefully that'll be a Bazaar, but I'm not sure how this is going to go. It's just whether that's enough to tempt them out of my graveyard, right? With the Spell Bomb. If it is, we can just put a shell or something on top, so that we guarantee another Dredger. But they've only got 1 card left, which is nice. The issue is if that card's Wasteland, because then they can not crack the Spell Bomb, waste us, and then the revival's a bit difficult to time. Okay, opponents taking priority back over to their turn. They do have a bit of a clock now with that Bowman. They're going for it now. And what do we do about that? Do we put the shell on top, or do we just cope? I think I kind of like just coping. Got a Stinkweed Imp. That's like my best card for dredging. So I'm going to let that go. Does mean they're going to get 2 more triggers and a slightly bigger boy, but that shouldn't be... It shouldn't be a disaster for us to overcome. The disaster is when they've got more to follow up with, right? It looks like they have. Lorien revealed, sure. Academy into Lorien. So they're back up to 4 cards, which makes it harder for us to overwhelm them, really. I've got to activate my Bazaar, which means they're going to get 2 more pings. And we're going to activate on upkeep so that we get the Dredge off of our Imp in our draw step. That's going to be the plan there. Sure, they've got another threat. That's kind of fine, I think. We'll discard Terror of the Peaks, Dread Return, and Stinkweed Imp. And we'll go to our Dredge step. And Dredge, that didn't really hit much. It hit another Dread Return. And a Therapy. I don't really want to Therapy them. I didn't hit any bridges. Got no black cards for my Icarids. I can Therapy them and take... No, I think I've got to be blocking. The game says I've got plays. Okay. Yeah, so the Hull Breach is nice because it slows down the clock a tiny bit. Not loads, but it means when I activate on my upkeep this turn as well. So there we'd kind of lived the nut low, where putting Shell on top would have meant I would have had an activation in my upkeep this turn. But I've kind of lost a turn there from doing that. So opponent's got 4 cards and tons of hate. And it's their main phase. The reason for not therapying there is I just feel like I'd take too much damage on the way back through. So I've got another Bowmaster, which is fine. And because the whole Breacher beats the Bowmaster. And they've got more plays. Day's Undoing. Okay, so I'm going to use my hand in Graveyard. Sure. Yeah, cool. So that's just going to kill us, right? So they just came here to draw 7, hate everyone, which is fine. I can't draw cards outside of my draw step. Cool. Right, let's go to the next one. That was tough. I think on the play I'm more interested in my griefs. So how do we want to compete with that? I think we can... I can't really cut these too easily just because of my vigor count is low. Maybe if the Poxwalkers come down, the bridge comes down, the Dread Return comes down, and we just act like realists. And the Dread Return package isn't everything. So, first of all, find Bazaar. That's pretty tough amounts of hate, right? When you've got as deep as Day's Undoing, I feel like they've got a lot of draw 7s in there that are going to reshuffle our Dredge deck, which isn't ever nice. So we found a Bazaar, we found a Grizzlebrand. Maybe enough to keep them off tempo, but I'm probably bottoming one of these wastes. I might just bottom the Grizzlebrand as well. That doesn't really do anything for us. Well, this hand's really bad. This hand's really bad. What if both wastelands go? Then I've got protection against their wasteland, protection against their leyline, and a random Grizzlebrand, but it's better to discard Grizzlebrand than it is to discard a random wasteland, right? So I think we're just going to play Bazaar. And do we want to activate Bazaar? I mean, I'm going to activate Bazaar on end step anyway, aren't I? So I may as well do it to get ahead of the... I can get ahead of the draw hate, or I can get ahead of the spell bomb. I think it's better to get ahead of the spell bomb. And by get ahead of the spellbomb, I mean play around it with vigor. Opponent mulligan to 6, so they've definitely got something going on over there. So mana crypt again into Soul Ring. They've done well for opening up on fast mana. Cycles Alorian. Just gets a basic island and passes the turn. So we're going to go to end step. Ah, that was a mistake already. We're going to blow up their 2 things. And they're going to float, and if they don't flash in, they ancestral themselves. Okay, so now I can activate in response. Because I can't get blown out by a Hull Breacher. I should have blown up in main phase. I can't keep any of these. I'm never keeping any of these. So let's just discard some cards. I need to go and find a Dredger in my upkeep. So I should have done this Vigor in their main phase, so that when they float all their mana, everything goes away, and we live happily ever after. And if they respond by flashing in a Hull Breacher, we can... Or if they float all their mana, we've got a phase to move to where we can still activate Bazaar. In our upkeep, I assume I'm just supposed to flip. Yeah. There's a Dredger, which is nice. We've got rid of a lot of their fast mana, but they did just Ancestral. So that's pros and cons. We miss on everything, but we do hit more Dredgers. So if we untap, we're going to be in a pretty good place. So yeah, we hit 2 Thugs and a Troll and an Icarid. They've got an Underground Sea that's not more power. And just a Tinker by the looks of things. So is this just... Are they just Sphinx post board? Or have they got some Tinker from Graveyard hate? Because Tinker for Spellbomb looks cracking here, doesn't it? I know it leaves me with an Imp, but it would do a pretty big number on me developing more. Because like Sphinx we can beat, we can get around with our Dread Return plan. They got the Sphinx, okay. Because I think I can beat a Sphinx. I don't think I can beat a Spellbomb from this position. So Ravenous Trap would be a disaster, but you know, we can't really do anything about that right now. So that's a Narcomoeba, and they're fairly F6 at the moment, which is quite delightful. So Icarid's going to just eat grief, I believe. Did I get a Dread Return? No Dread Return just yet. We got some therapies. Continue to have 0 Dread Returns and 0 bridges. Did I cut everything? What did I do? No, there's still 3 bridges in the deck. So what do we want to do though? Like I can just pick up a Grizzlebrand actually, can't I? No, I can't pick up a Grizzlebrand. I don't have a Dread Return. Bollocks. I think we can just... What do we want to name? I think I want to therapy them, and I think I want to name Spellbomb. Because I don't think this Sphinx of the Steel Wind is going to do enough for them. So I'm just going to sacrifice my Icarid, because that's not actually getting in for combat. And I think I'm just going to name Nihil Spellbomb. And then we'll have a look and see if there's anything we actually want to take. Hull Breacher, Flusterstorm, Time Twister, Tabernacle at Pendle Vale. Okay. So seeing as all my creatures are dead, let's go and take their Time Twister quickly. And yeah, Time Twister's gone. They've got Flusterstorm and Hull Breacher, but they don't really do anything. We get some creatures. Our creatures will then die. But if we hit our Dread Returns, then we can start doing all of that. We've got loads of Icarids to go around, like some that we can even share with our opponent. I'll just take the 6. I don't care. I want them to play the Tabernacle, that's the thing, yeah. I don't want them to chump block on me. So all of our creatures die. I want the Ichorids to resolve last first anyway. And I'm just going to flip the rest of my deck and go and find a Dread return. So Stinkweed Imp is the best possible. Stinkweed Imp is the best possible. And still no Dread returns there. I really want to check my sideboard again. How many Dread returns are currently in my deck? There's one there. So there's still 2 Dread returns, right? Price Amalgams are all going to die. We know they've got a Flusterstorm, but we should be able to... I was thinking, like, I can beat the Flusterstorm, right, with multiple Dread returns, but apparently that's not possible. Let's Eat a Grief. And then we've got some Prized Amalgam triggers. I think I'll eat the other Grief here. I just saw a Therapy, I think. Yeah, there's a Therapy here, so we can still go and get that Flusterstorm if this Troll activation or this Troll Dredge does find a Dread return. So, Golgari Grave Troll hits Dread return and Narcomoeba. Did we hit a bridge? Because I need one of those now. Still no bridges. Okay. Orcs. Very awkward. Still no bridges. Good grief. So what happens if I just reanimate Terror of the Peaks? Nothing. What happens if I reanimate Grizzlebrand? It gets countered. So maybe I'm just supposed to Therapy it. Because I need to find other Ichorids as well, right? Next turn. Next turn my deck will be empty and they will be dead. So there's that going for us. So Therapy name Fluster or Dread return get Grizzlebrand, which is basically the same as Therapy naming Fluster. I think I just Therapy naming Fluster because that is better for us because it uses less resources. It uses less Dread returns. So let's name Flusterstorm. They've just got Scalding Tarn in hand, so that's fine. This turn I will be blocking. It's just everything that's good about my deck in this spot is at the bottom of my deck. So we need to Dredge for 13 next turn. So what's that? Imp Shell. So that's doable. So we'll see our whole deck, which means we'll see our bridges. And they've got 1 draw step to find something. A draw 7, I guess. Or a Lotus. Well, a draw 7 doesn't help because they've got to pay the 1 here. What's in exile? Yeah, nonsense. So that's a Scalding Tarn. We'll chump block this time just in case we feel like we need to. I can't activate a Grizzlebrand, I'll just be dead. So, Ichorids trigger. And then we need to do Imp Shell. And hope that their last card hasn't become a piece of graveyard hate. So Imp. So that leaves us with 3 cards left in deck. We've now got our Bridge from Belows. Don't even know if this is 32 points of damage this turn, actually. Wait, so I've got 2 bridges now. And 2 Dread returns. They're still going to have the Tabernacle at Pendule Vale. How many amalgams is that? 3 amalgam triggers here. The other amalgam's going to come into play. So maybe I need to not Dredge so I've got the crack twice sort of thing. Yeah, I think that makes more sense now I've got my 2 bridges in the graveyard. So bridges trigger. I'm going to get just 2 Ichorids. Okay. This has not gone well for us. So I'm now concerned about how I actually close this out. So I still want the I still want the Ichorids to come in. I don't think I'm dredging now at this point. Let's eat a shell. So my Ichorids are in play. Let's just minimize the graveyard for a moment. I'm going to hit cancel, which means we're done dredging. This is just our deck now. And we're going to dread return Terror of the Peaks. And I can dread return Grizzlebrand, and then all my creatures are dead. But so is their one. So if I dread return Terror of the Peaks... Going down to 2 dread returns is really tough. So let's dread return 2 Terror of the Peaks. Dread return Terror of the Peaks, sacrificing these 3 nerds here. This creature. Why is this creature over here? Did you draw a counterspell? No. And now let's dread return a Grave Troll, sacrificing the Ichorids this time. And I'm just going to go face with all of this. I'm not counting it up. If it's not enough, then we'll kill the Sphinx of the Steelwind on our... Yeah, if it's not enough, we'll kill the Sphinx of the Steelwind with our Amalgam triggers. How much is that? Oh, that's 27. Cool, so they're just dead. Dink. And we win. Yeah, the Grave Troll took me a moment to find. That's how we get haste out of this deck, isn't it? So that was cool. We win a match against Kenzaburo, so I'm now 1-X lifetime against them, and I'll see you for round 2. Okay, round 2, we're up against Red Hot Phil 87. We are on the play. We do not have a Bazaar of Baghdad here. We will go and find one. Oh no, down to 4. You hate to see it. Now we're going to powder, so I'll keep some threats in my deck, I guess. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I misclick on the Ichorid. And the laggy modo. So let's do this. And we didn't find a Bazaar, so we're going to shuffle those 3 guys back in. And now we found a Bazaar. And we found a Troll. So I'm just going to keep all the Dredges, I think. I could keep that Noxious, but I think Dredges are better. Set ourselves up for a day without Bazaar of Baghdad, assume we're getting wasted. So triple Dredger, cast a Hollow One, and pass the turn to the opponent. Let's get our graveyard back out for you all at home. And opponent didn't reveal a Lurrus, an Ancient Tomb. Okay, so we're up against Jewel Shops, which might not be great for us, but our hand here does have the potential to just go ham, right? So another Grim. If it's a turn 1 One Ring, that's a bit annoying. But we'll probably be putting them on notice quite quickly. It's just if they put us on a... well, dead, you know. So, yeah. Turn 1 well, that was wild. Turn 1 One Ring coming into play tapped, apparently. So let's dredge in our upkeep. Let's do some flipping of our graveyard. And their whole game plan now is just to chain 1 rings together. So let's dredge a Troll. We get a Narcomoeba back into play. How many Poxwalkers did we find there? Not any. No, 1. That's not enough though. 1 bridge, 2 bridges. Okay, so I can put Grizzlebrand into play. What do we think about Grizzlebrand coming into play? I think that's pretty good. No, I don't have a Dread Return. I do have a Dread Return. I'm losing my mind. Right, so I can Therapy myself. And then Dread Return my Grizzlebrand. That will mean that if they have a Force of Will, it's very bad for us. But it will mean that we can put Terror of the Peaks into play. And then possibly kill them. Well, we would kill them next turn. That's just not Yeah, I just don't know if that's good. Because I can like flip my whole deck, put my entire board of amalgams into play with a Terror of the Peaks in play. But that would all be on there. I'd need to time it on our end step, wouldn't I? Which would be really difficult to do. So I think I'll just pass for now. I don't think I need to do anything else. I get 2 amalgams into play. But they'd still be under the protection now, right? They'd be off the protection in their upkeep. So I'd get 6 on their end step for free. But then they might have Wandering protection by then as well. So the Wandering protection's from the moment they play the ring rather than the moment they... Or rather than during my turn, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think the moment they don't have Wandering protection, we win. Because we'll get a bunch of bridge triggers. Well, we'll get to attack them for 11. That also helps, right? So yeah, if they miss on... Well, they've got 3 rings and 4 metamorphs. But if they miss on those, then we're going to win. But it's just when they miss on those versus when they kill us. You know, and if they can thread that needle, it's going to be the big thing in this game. I could have therapied my troll. I didn't. So it goes. I just felt like that wasn't the game we were playing. I just like the idea of stripping their hand and beating them down. So Saga comes in. Yeah, they've got another metamorph, which is going to be another ring, I think. Oh no, that 2 damage is going to be from the Trinosphere. Wow. Okay. So now we don't get to cast spells at all. But we do get to flip a bunch of cards. So Thug. Okay, I wasn't thinking about Trinosphere when I went through all of that. Let's just Dredge a troll. So yeah. We missed on all the guys that come back as well, which is kind of wild, but we'll 11 them. I was going to put them to 4. They're going to take 2 from their 1 ring. Their Ancient Tomb is dead. Yeah, good luck, I guess. I don't know what else we're supposed to say. They're going to get to draw 3 cards. Yeah, just a regular Dredge draw in the end is what we've got. That Trinosphere kind of locking out the immediate kills. But the damage that we're doing versus plus the damage that they're doing themselves might make this difficult for them to get out of. An Academy would be an insane draw for the opponent. Academy, Tinker, Walk, PO. So they've got a lot to get them through this turn. But that Ancient Tomb being dead is playing quite a big role in us winning game 1. So yeah. This typically isn't a great matchup for Dredge though. Just the opponent's usually a bit too quick and they can chain those 1 rings into each other to stay alive. So post-board games will be tough. Usually they've got access to things like maybe a Tormod's Crypt, maybe a Hull Breacher. Not usually ley lines because they're faster than us, so they don't bother with that. But they've got the Calm package, a bunch of Worm Coils. But when we're on this one, as we just learnt, against Sphinx, reanimating a troll is a pretty big fireball to close things out with the Terror as well. It just took me a while to find that line last turn or last round. Opponent continues to ponder their options. They are paying a number of costs at the moment. But I think, yeah. So Workshop doesn't work for casting PO. It's just Academy that gets them out from there. And yeah, no, they've conceded anyway. Cool. Right. Game 1. Live by, die by the Trinosphere. I like the Vigors, I think. Or do I not like the Vigors? Do I just like being as fast as I possibly can be? But maybe Vigors over Griefs is quite a good swap. The Noxious are like the nut low against them. Because they're not going to waste us. But I think I'll still bring it in just for green count. But this is the advantage of this build, is that you are slightly faster. On top of that, we did get like the nut draw, right? In a hollow 1+3 dredgers meant we weren't running out of gas. So let's go to 6 here. And then we'll powder away. I guess we'll just keep the Dread Return as the bottom card of our deck. That sounds pretty big in terms of technology. No dredgers, but a Bazaar. No interaction, but we do have a Bazaar. So definitely some fail rates here. My internet is lagging out of its mind today. It's insane. Like, we missed that one ring trigger, and I just missed this Saga trigger as well. But opponent's gone Saga, Manavolt, Monolith, and then probably into a one ring to see it through. Oh, another Monolith. They're trying to get up to a duel. 5 mana, and it down to the one ring. That's interesting sequencing there, isn't it? Unless they've got a needle. They've got a needle, cool. Okay, needle's an issue. We need vigor off the top. Exactly now. Exactly now. That is what I was saying there. So I think I'm going to slow roll this vigor until they activate the one ring in a moment. That's when I'll do it, because otherwise they can draw 2 cards up to a Force of Will. And we'll be needling Saga and one ring. They take some damage off Manavolt. Their Saga trigger resolves. They'll activate the one ring, and we will respond to that and bink the needle in the Saga. So we'll go now. Hit your Saga, hit your needle. They've got 3 cards in hand. If they've got a Force of Will, the game ends. That's fine. But in we go. Okay, cool. Maybe we wanted to activate there, actually, because if they just go Academy pass, then they've got Hull Breacher up. So maybe the thing that was right was we kill this, and then with this one ring trigger on the stack, we activate the Bazaar of Baghdad. That would have played around Hull Breacher quite nicely. Because we don't have any dredgers, we need to find some. And then next turn we'll get to put a hollow one into play, and if we feel like it, we might be able to therapy them off the Hull Breacher. So this is the workshop. So I'm going to activate now, so that they can't Hull Breacher me off this. This all looks mighty fantastic. So Icarid can go, Therapy can go, or Grizzlebrand can go. Opponent's got a Lotus and 3 cards, 1 mana floating. So 7,000 mana. Taps the workshop, cracks the Lotus for blue, and in comes a Coveted Jewel. So they've got 1 blue floating, 4 mana total, and this is where they can just kill us. And if they kill us, they kill us. If we're dead, we're dead. There's a Ruby. 4 cards, 5 mana, and a Cage. Cage is quite annoying. What do we do about a Cage? What do we do about a Cage? Oh, I could just fucking die. Cool. Right, next game. We can't beat the total lock here because we can't produce 3 mana to kill any of this stuff. So yeah, let's concede. I can't draw into anything either in this spot. So pretty good. A few cards off the jewel there. I want my Griefs back. I'm going to trim a couple of Poxwalkers, a Thug, and something else. I like the Street Wraith. I think the Street Wraith's is good. Narcs are pretty cool. Maybe it's just the other Poxwalker. Just make our therapies bad, but you know, what are you going to do? We definitely need to duress them. We definitely can't just let them draw 3 cards and resolve their artifacts as well. So, well, this is a pretty good anti-cage, anti-graveyard hate hand. 2 hollow ones is about as good as it gets against duel, especially if this Force of Vigor does some disrupting on the way through. Like, I'm not above just binking a Saga as well. I think I'd be interested in that sort of play. So, yeah, grand opener for the home team here. Opponent mulligan to 6, and here we go. We've got a Bazaar, and we get to give it a spin. So I'm going to discard Thug, Dread Return, and Prized Amalgam. I'm going to hold the shell because it's my green card, and I'm quite interested in Vigoring them this turn. And you can assume they've mulliganed to something like Cage or Pithing Needle or a very quick kill. And against any of those, the Vigor can really slow them down. So looks like it might be another turn 1 ring. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to do this at the beginning of combat to see if they're just passing priority randomly. Like, don't let them get to their second main phase and cast the 1 ring. Right, just bink it now. You pass priority and I will punish you for it, sort of thing. Now we'll dredge. So Thug, Imp. We hit a Narc Amoeba. I like the Narc, that's cool. That triggers the Amalgams. I'm going to dredge the Troll now. That's excellent news. And we hit no. We hit no bridges. So what I was thinking is we could, if I'd hit a bridge here, we could attack for 8 and then reanimate a Grief. But so what do we name? They had 1 ring mana and they didn't cast 1 ring. I'm absolutely therapying them here. I just need to work out what I'm naming. Wormcoil Engine makes sense, right? Here's my mana, untap, make 6, Wormcoil you. So let's therapy and name Wormcoil Engine. I think that's the best blind name that I've got. That is one of their main sideboard cards. And I can beat everything else, right? Cage doesn't matter at this point. I've got 2 hollow ones. Khan doesn't matter. I've got 2 hollow ones. They don't play Tabernacle. Yeah, no. Let's just name Wormcoil Engine just in case. Coveted dual PO. Okay, sure. So they're just dead anyway. You don't see a duel every day post board, but that's cool. And then, yeah, next turn we'll just kill them with what we've got on board. We don't have to take any more game actions today. I know Wormcoil Engine's not like a high impact name there, but it's just the one name that I can think of. Like, I've got everything else beat, I think. Needle's already beaten, Cage is already beaten. Maybe there's like a thing where I'm supposed to name Tinker. I can see that. But I think just going after their sideboard plan, just in case they can get back into 6 mana, makes sense. And as we saw, they'll need, what, exactly Lotus to get into Coveted Jewel this turn. They could top deck a 1 ring. That would buy them a turn. But I think at this point we might actually even be able to set up a turn where we do get our amalgams back on end step or something, or 2 amalgams on end step. I'm not sure. But unless their top deck is obscene, we should convert this now. And that will put us 2 in the league, but we'll see what they get in their draw step. Okay, so after 10 minutes of upkeep, my opponent conceded the match, which is great news for us. So I'll see you for the next round. Okay, round 3, we're up against Chestnut. We've won the die roll. Goodness only knows what Chestnut is on, but looking at this hand, it's going to be hard for that to matter. We'll keep this, obviously, and then we'll see how we get on. Obviously, this is vintage. We can die quickly, but this is vintage. Our opponent can also die very quickly. So let's get rid of the obvious stuff. Is Amalgam obvious, or is Bridge from Below more obvious? Maybe Bridge from Below is more obvious, because what if they, like, shatter both my hollow ones, you know? I don't know about that, but I don't know if it's going to truly matter. We'll see. Because Chestnut's got range, and by that I mean they play a lot of different random decks. They could be on like a duel list. They could be on a shops list. They could be on anything really, I think. So, like, they've got a tiger, you know? They've exiled a Spirit Guide, exiled a Spirit Guide, played a Chaos or Chaos Adventurer. Sure. Sure thing. They've got a basic land in their hand now. But I get the initiative, and when we trade I get some creatures. So that's quite cool. Oh, that's got trample, so maybe that's not so cool. They've got a forest, and then it's over to us. That was a lot of resources to introduce the initiative to a board state that they're behind on, but you know, sometimes your hand does what your hand does, right? So let's dredge a troll, dredge a stinkweed imp, discard the nonsense, and our opponent's conceded. Very nice. So a wide range of hate available, of course. So I think Figures and Revivals make sense. I don't think Strip Mines make sense in a deck with basic lands. Do we want Sickening Shoals? What can they have? Let's think about it. It's going to be Magus of the Moon would be good. Deathrite Shaman could be good. I think the idea that they could have Magus means I want access to some shoals. Yes. I'm going to drop the Poxwalkers, that seemed to work so far, and I'm going to drop the Griefs, that seemed to be fine. And that just makes it easy whilst maintaining our Outlaws of Thunder Junction package. So let's pop down for game 2 then. And we've got another cracking hand. This is why you register Dredge, because sometimes you just look at your hand and think this is ridiculous. Obviously this gets blown out completely by a leyline, just in before leyline. But against everything else, this hand looks fantastic. So, up to the opponent to make a play. We're in their upkeep, so we're post leyline phase, which means I like my hand. I like my hand less when they have a Lotus. But we're hoping this is Magus of the Moon and not Blood Moon. Oh wow. Incoming powerful plays. Void Mirror. Alright, so that counts as my Sickening Shoal, which means their Blood Moon is just in play. Oh, GGG and a white. Okay. Green Sun Zenith for a green creature, converted mana cost of 3. Grist the Hunger Tide. I don't believe that's the battle that we're fighting, but it's okay. Like if that was next turn and they did it for a Loaming Shaman, then that might be quite powerful. Let's discard just all the dredges, I think. Dredge, dredge, dredge. Because this is very much a Icarid Amalgam game at this point, right? And a Bridge from Below game. So they've got a Strip Mine, but I've got 2 Bazaars. It's like 2 Explores, but better. So, opponent can't cast spells either at the moment because of their own Void Mirror. Let's dredge our Stinkweed Imp in draw step. There's an Icarid, that's going to be beautiful in a moment. So there's a Thug and another Thug. And we do get a Narcomoeba into play. So what do I want to do? How many bridges are there? 0 bridges at the moment. I probably don't want to discard bridges until I'm happy to bring them back, right? But I cannot make enough stuff right now. So I'm going to do Amalgam. I think I might just do how many dredges do I have? I've got Stinkweed Imp. How do I have so many things in my hand? Oh, I didn't upkeep Dredge. Right, I see, I understand. Huh. Why didn't I upkeep Dredge? Did I just click through my upkeep? We're wild. Okay. I don't know why I did that. Right, so Amalgam needs to go to get this in Narcomoeba trigger. I've got an Icarid next turn, that's a lock. I'm just thinking about this Terror of the Peaks. Terror of the Peaks can never come into play, so I don't want to discard, so I'll just discard the bridge. And then I'll discard the No, I'm just going to discard the Imp and the Thug. I'm not going to discard the Bridge just yet because of the way Grist is going to work, I think. You may sacrifice a creature. When you do, I don't know how that works against Bridge from below, so I feel like I just don't screw around with it, you know? I can't cast spells due to therapy. Not therapy, due to Void Mirror. I can cast them, but they're just not going to resolve. So we'll get our creatures into play. And then next turn we'll send the world. A Wasteland would be annoying. They showed us a Strip Mine last turn. That doesn't mean they've got Wastelands, but I think you can expect it. If you're registering Grist, right, you kind of need to be on Wastelands. They just milled a Magus to the moon, which is good to see go. I'm just going to let that happen, that 2 damage, because my Narcomoeba and my is going to be a bit more important. So this time I will upkeep the Bazaar, because I've played this game before. And now I'll discard 2 Imps, and I will do the Bridge this time. So Icarid's going to pop on into play. Oh, for goodness sake. Just pressed no. I just pressed no. Right. Just nice moment to misclick. Right. So what can we do? I can therapy. Therapy won't resolve. I'll get 1, 2, 3 bridge tokens. With my 3 bridge tokens, I can dread return and get nothing back. So there's no point in that. I don't really want creatures to die is the issue. Because my bridges will die. How many Icarids do I have? Icarid. Just 2. This Grist is quite annoying. I should be able to go around it though. There's 1 Grist. I think I'm just going to therapy myself. Sacrificing an Amalgam, I guess. Sacrificing an Amalgam. Nothing came back this turn because I've screwed it up. Right, so let's just therapy ourselves, sacrificing the Narcomoeba. It's going to get countered. And then we'll pass the turn. But we do get some bridge tokens now. So we've locked in that value in case they -3 the Grist. I should have 3 more tokens, obviously, because of the Icarid dying. Which is quite awkward. I need them to not kill something with Grist. And they've killed something with Grist. So, yeah. Oh, but wait, so this is really interesting, just as a rules thing. So my bridges trigger... Oh, okay, no, my bridges triggered wrong. Okay, yeah. That's very annoying. But it's fine, because I'm going to get it back anyway. I think I can overcome it. So 22 cards, I'm just going to do like a little bit more, maybe 10. So 10 of those guys. There's another Narc. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I get the Amalgams back as well. And then I can't cast any of this stuff anyway, can I? So I'll get rid of Street Wraith, get rid of Shambling Shell. And then line up the Amalgams. Go to our draw step. I've only got 2 Icarids, so I'm going to dredge again. I'll just dredge a Troll for half my deck. There's another Narcomoeba. And I think we can go face at this point, right? Let's go face with the Icarids and let's go Grist with the tokens. No, that makes 0 sense. We can beat Grist. Well, we can race Grist is what I mean. So opponent just gets... Cool. So they take 10. They're at 8. We need them to kind of not have Tabernacle, right? Although actually I don't think Tabernacle really does anything against me here. So I've got my Icarids in play. Why do you need me to stack more of these? So... Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so that misclick has probably added another turn to their time alive. But I think I think it's fine. I think it's fine. The amalgams come in, the Icarids go away, the bridges have already gone. Bazaar's done its job, so we don't worry too much about Wastelands and Megasis at this point. Yeah, I wonder if there's something else available that's better than Grist in that early doors spot. I don't know. From green, I don't know. But I'll just bring back these two Icarids. What is going on? But they can't cast any spells anyway, so they shall be defeated, despite my best efforts to help them out. I'll see you for round 3. Okay, round 4, we're up against Toxic Cat, and we've got another big Bazaar on 7 hand. I just kept it just like this, no powdering required. They've got a Bazaar as well, so our Griefs aren't going to be quite as good as they were, so I might now pitch Grief to Grief. Let's see what the opponent comes with though. Let's see if they're a Squee deck, let's see if they're a Dredge deck, or, you know, some sort of awesome workshop fastbond build. Hopefully the latter. Actually, hopefully not, because that's usually an abysmal matchup for us. But let's see what they discard. So, Poxwalker's Master of Death and a Blazing Root Wallace. So they've got a 3/1 Death Toucher in play. We're going to hit him in the face with a Dredge, with a Grief, sorry, and then get to work on making some hollow ones. We've obviously traded with this Poxwalker a number of times, but so it goes. They will hopefully give us the time. The big issue we've got here is that they're going to have Wastelands. So draw step, hopefully a second Bazaar. No, just a third hollow one. I'll accept that, I think. Are we going to Grief pitching Grief, or are we going to Grief pitching Dread Return? I think it's Grief pitching Grief, right? So let's play Bazaar. Cast Grief pitching Grief. Oh, I'm struggling with words. Opponent's got 1 Squee at the moment. Let's take a look. So, Master of Death, Mind Break, Trap, Basking. I guess I just take the trap, right, and just put 3 4/4s into play. The thing with Basking is that it can draw into a Vigor. I obviously can't ask them to put the Basking into play, though. That's wild, right? But what if they put it into play and then their Poxwalkers doesn't work? No, I think I'll just take the trap. I don't know, but the Vigor is kind of scary. Because the Basking Root Waller could be worth two hollow ones, whereas the Poxwalker is only worth 1, the Mind Break Trap's worth 1. I'm going to take the trap, but I'm not convinced. Now let's activate our Bazaar, see if we hit a bridge. We do not, but we do hit a second Bazaar, so that's... Whew, hang on, I can put Grizzlebrand into play right now. Just... all I'd need to do is sacrifice my 3 hollow ones. But what would I end up with? I assume a dead opponent, right? That's how that works. What's their hand? Nothing. Let's just go for it. Let's just do the thing. I get to put Grizzlebrand into play on turn 1. And then our whole life revolves around this Dredge 3. And what do we take? I'll have a Grizzlebrand in play. Who cares what I take? Yeah. Let's just do this, because this is too cool. I don't know if this is correct, but their shield's down. And if this hits, we win, right? So now we don't have to care about Vigor. Let's Dredge. Yeah, we hit a second one. And we missed. Okay. But I've got a Grizzlebrand, so, like, what does it matter? Let's go to our end step and discard a Stinkweed Imp, or maybe Nicarid. Let's discard a Nicarid. Alright, opponent's got some work to do. I've got a Grizzlebrand. My Grizzlebrand can't get Force of Vigored. Opponent needs, what, 2 main deck Furies. Oh, they got a second Bazaar off the top, so that's kind of gnarly. But Grizzlebrand's got to be impossible for them to get round, right? Just don't block the Poxwalkers. That's all I've got to remind myself, is don't block the Poxwalkers, and we're cruising. But now our deck's going to be upside down, and we're going to reanimate a Troll. Our opponent's going to take 48 damage or something. So 2 Masters and a Powder get discarded. We knew about all of those cards. Now they're on to cards we don't know about, going back down to 3 cards. So Basking Root, Water, Force of Will, Mental Misstep, sure. So we know about none of their 3 cards, I don't think. And they've conceded the game. Yeah, that was fun. Next game, we've got ley lines and traps to deal with. So we need our own ley lines. We need our Noxious and everything. I think this might be the day that we discard the traps. Not the traps, the returns. The Dredge return package. What do we think? So say I don't have therapies. Say I don't have Poxwalkers. Say I don't have griefs. And then I can keep like part of the Dread return joke. So let's just drop a Thug. Let's try that. Unsure. But it does maintain the joke. Opponent powders. We mulligan. We keep double Bazaar and a Vigor, bottoming a Powder. Double Bazaar, double Wasteland. Yeah, they've got a ley line, so we're just gonna try and Wasteland their brains out. They kept 7. They've got a Bazaar. So we're gonna start on just like a barrage of strip mines until we're dead. No hollow one. They discarded a Noxious Revival, so let's just operate on the assumption that they've got a Noxious Revival in hand. But let's continue killing lands. So opponent's paying costs, so they've got a Noxious. Congratulations. They pick up a Squee and they discarded a Poxwalkers on their turn as well. So Bazaar comes back in. And do you find some threats this time around? Ravenous Trap, there we go. So there's 1 trap. So they're holding another trap. There's 2 Squees there. Let's play a strip mine and strip mine them. They've not presented any threats. Do you have a 3rd Noxious or a 2nd Bazaar? They get their 2 Squees back. And then next turn we'll start exposing Bazaars. No Bazaar, cool. So now I get to play Bazaar of Baghdad. And hopefully find a green card, which I do find. So Dread Return, Narcomoeba, Bridge from below, I guess. Yeah. And then pass. And then we'll hit them with the old upkeep Vigor. And pray for a resolution. Let's look at the exile pile. Yeah, no, they didn't have any. We haven't seen any forced blue cards just yet. And let's hope we don't. But no, so Leyline gets through. They've got 7 cards in hand. I'm pretty sure one of them's a trap. So let's activate now, see if we can get the trap out of them before we go too nutty. So I'll feed them a Golgari Thug, a Wasteland, and a Prized Amalgam. Nothing. Okay, so we'll dredge a Thug. No, I think we'll pass. And we'll play a hollow one. We'll play a Bazaar of Baghdad. There's no good way of playing around this, is there? No. Okay. They've got another Bazaar. Oh, I just discarded my Wasteland, so that's kind of frustrating. Because now they're going to dig towards another trap. I'm pretty sure they've got another trap, but... Squee Master, okay. I haven't really got anything in terms of dredges here, actually. So let's activate now. I think we didn't... Yeah, cool. Let's just give them the stuff. Does that get the trap? Because I sandbagged the... Yeah, that got the trap. So you have 2 traps. Okay, so maybe I could have held a stinkweed imp. Let's dredge. And then let's dredge again. Or let's activate then dredge. So Thug and Street Wraith. And it looks like they've got another trap. Nope. I'll do it once more. I want to hold my dredger. Is this going to get a trap? No. Okay. Well, over to them then. And next time we've got 2 Icarids. And I'll probably just do 2 Icarids rather than... Depending on what their board state is, where I've got the bridge from below, I'm actually kind of interested in the idea of just reanimate my 2 Icarids, eat my Street Wraith and my Stinkweed Imp, hold my Golgari Thug, attack you for 7. Icarids die, I get 4 power into play because of my bridge from below. I think that sounds good. No creatures there. Hollow ones are going to be too small. Fury is going to eat my bridge from below. Okay. You need to stack it so that the evoke resolves first. And they did. So that was good play by them. So, can I, in good conscience, 6 them? That's the next question, right? Right, I'm going to pick up my Icarids. So, Street Wraith first. How many bridges have gone? Let's find that out. 1 here, 2 here. Okay, so not ideal. Yeah, I'll eat a Stinkweed Imp. So I'll eat those 2, and now I'll get my dredge on. So we just want to minimize the impact of Ravenous Trap, right? Let's dredge the Thug. Dredge the Thug. We've got our final bridge. We've got a Narcomoeba. So they can hit everything here. That's not ideal. Maybe I didn't want to do this second Bazaar activation. Maybe I just wanted to pick it up. Yeah, they've got the trap. Oh, they've got Noxious. What are they, Noxious? Just my Narc. Sure. So what if I dredge? I just get my Narc back. What if I just press cancel? Attack you for 6. Get 4 power. I think I need to do this. Like if they're revivaling, that doesn't really do much, right? Yeah, no. They're just cool. Right, and we've saved a dredger and all of that. Not saved one, but we've got one back in our hand. I appreciate I've only got 17 cards in my deck, so it's not ideal. Opponent goes to 9. And then we'll pick up our amalgams before letting our Icarids die. Just exposure things. And then we get some tokens. Now our opponent's dead on board, and they've got a lot of work to do. And I've got 3 Icarids that can just come into play next turn through a Ravenous Trap. So that looks really good for us. I think they pick up their master. Yeah, they've not got the time to mess around with thinking about life points. It's present blockers and threats or die, I think. So yeah, I wonder what they held earlier on over the trap, right? We haven't seen a wasteland out of them. We saw the Fury. The Fury wasn't particularly... Fury's like rarely good. It did eat a bridge, but Fury's rarely a thing that we're too concerned about, I think. So they've done the thing. They've presented some blockers. They get their Poxwalker back, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to... They need like a grip full of hollow ones here to stop the whole joke. Oh, that's a good one. I get more tokens though. Oh no, I don't, because they get to eat it. Okay, so bridge dies, 2 creatures die. 3 Icarids come back. So let's think about this attack quickly. These will block 3 power creatures. So my Icarids get fogged and they go to 1. Is there a better way of doing this? Thug, thug, amalgam. I can just pick up a dragon. What does the dragon do? Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. And then my amalgam dies. Comes in and kills them. Is that right? I don't know. Let's work it out. But I'm going to pick up all the creatures first. So Thug, triggered amalgam. And this is just to play around trap, imp. I'm going to eat this amalgam. And then I'm going to not dredge, because I can't. And then I'll go to combat and attack them. And at some point there's no way to play around Ravenous Trap, but pushing through the damage first is a way to play around Ravenous Trap in some sense, I think. So they eat all the Icarids. Oh no. The amalgam. Okay. You're at 1. So I can also just not care here, right? What happens if we just don't care? Or I can make a 5/4 dragon. If I make a 5/4 dragon, they can never really kill me. I think I need to push a bit more. I do get to draw here. I've not got any dredges. Okay, let's go for it. I'm going to keep the shell in my hand. And I'm going to dread return. Terror of the Peaks, sacrificing these nerds. Do you have a Ravenous Trap? No. And then the amalgams come in and kill them. Nice. Didn't have to give them another turn. Might be a bit punty though, nonetheless. But it was, you know, just trying to play with the cool cards, you know. Would we have heard about it before then in the turn? I don't think so. There was no way for it to, right? So, yeah, cool. Opponent's going to die. We're going to win. We're going to go to the finals of this league with some turbo dredge. Yeah, opponent's conceded, and I'll see you for round 5. Okay, 5th and final round against Golos Tireless Skier. And we've won a die roll. We've got a Bazaar. Got some nonsense. Let's get going. So I think it's going to depend on what we draw, but we're pretty much discarding Stinkweed Imp Icarid plus, right? Probably just the Thug, unless we have some massive revelation. Interesting, though, that we haven't played against a Lurus deck this league, which is quite refreshing, if I'm honest. There is a series of bugs going around on Modo at the moment. I don't know if Lurus is one of them. It wouldn't surprise me. They just hotfixed the initiative tonight. Okay, so Stinkweed Imp and 2 Icarids for now. And then with the intention of discarding this amalgam on our upkeep. Unless we get wastelanded, at which point we would not revert, but we would wish we'd discarded this Thug. So a grand old start. Opponent's up to 7 cards after their draw step and taking a mulligan. And they've got a Ruby. And a Lotus. Cool. White, white, white. Thalia, Garden of Thraban. Do you have the Wasteland in there as well, opponent? Because the Wasteland's a pretty big game. Ancient Tomb. Archon of Emeria. Okay. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Well, Monfrere, it's already here. We can't cast spells this game. Not ideal, but do you see that? We get one draw and it's a hollow one. Hilarious. A bunch of amalgams coming in. Right, do we want to just eat the dredgers? So I'm going to get double Icarid, triple amalgam, hollow one. So I'm going to eat the Poxwalker and the Thug. And I won't dredge on my draw step, but I do get to make like infinite power. So that's cool. I take a draw step. If there's another hollow one, it's cracked. If there's another Bazaar, it's cracked. But I think triple amalgam this turn is quite appealing. Plus the fact that I do get him for damage as well. It's a Stinkweed Imp. So let's attack for... Yeah, that's so funny. We missed the Dredger and hit Bink the hollow one. So they first strike one of them down and take 3, going to 15. We haven't played a spell this turn, so I'll just cast this hollow one, I guess. And then next turn I do get to dredge again. If the Bazaar's still here. But I just felt like this is a decent amount of power and toughness to be making at the sacrifice of a dredge, right? And if the Bazaar's still here, then there's a good chance it's over. Opponent's got 3 cards, no white mana. We've got Cavern of Souls. Big if true. Name's human. Anointed Peacekeeper. Sure. Anointed Peacekeeper is fine. It's going to be hard for them to keep all of these cards in play. They'll name Bazaar of Baghdad on the Peacekeeper. I'll Icarid eating an Icarid. I'm not above it. And then we'll slay for 50 or something. I haven't counted it, but it looks certainly like it's lethal. Draw step is a shell. Creatures do creature things. In we go. And if they block with the Peacekeeper here, then we get to activate post-combat looking for another hollow one. I know I've only got 2 left, but still kind of cool. So Thalia's going to first strike down an Icarid. Archon can probably just chump something. Like, Archon's not doing anything. This is currently 13, so they do have to put the Archon in front of something. Probably just the hollow one. And then it's just a case of whether they want to trade the Peacekeeper for something. But I don't know how pre-board mono white comes back from this. Yeah, no, not as our opponent. So let's go to sideboarding. And we need the Sickening Shoals here, because we need a way to kill a Containment Priest. Okay, that's their big thing post-board. Bring in a Revival. And for game 2, I do like to have access to the Vigors against mono white, because mono white players are all over the place and don't know what their graveyard hate looks like. I think Therapies are kind of loose in the face of Thalia. Might never cast them. Poxwalker's also kind of questionable when I've just cut all my Therapies. So maybe I want some Griefs. I'll just bring in 3, keep 3 Griefs in. What do I want? 3 Wastelands. I think 3 Griefs is fine. Griefs lets us like sequence nicely against hate pieces. Grief lets us understand what's going on with the initiative. Grief can also just not be in our opening hand. So that's cool. We'll keep this Bazaar hand though. And this Noxious is going to be really quite big for us because it's going to be able to pick up a Sickening Shoal when we dredge it. Which sometimes you just need your interaction in your opener and you're kind of just beholden to that. So, opponent's got a Chrome Mox, good on them. And a Mox Pearl, so just all the good Moxen and a Wasteland and a spell. Archon of Emeria, Grim. Cool. Sickening Shoal. Icarid. Okay. That's fine. We'll play the Bazaar. The Bazaar will get Wastelanded. We'll Noxious it. Life will be sweet. Might have to take some draw steps, but they did mulligan towards the lower end of things here. So, in for 2. And then they wasteland us. Oh, Thalia's just game. So maybe that's a reason for me to bring in my wastes, actually. Interesting. Never mind. Discard the Stinkweed Imp. We can do it slowly as well. So our graveyard is live because we got to keep 7. I wonder if actually I was supposed to just discard last turn. Was that a play I had available? So Stinkweed Imp makes a Narcomoeba and gives us 2 Stinkweed Imps. So we are officially gaming. I'm going to discard a Stinkweed Imp this turn, I think. Is that true? No, I discard an Icarid this turn. Because I can eat a Stinkweed Imp next turn. And yeah, eat Stinkweed Imp, Dredge 5. Do I care? No, I think I want to wait for bridges to appear before I start chomping. I go to 10. If opponent's top deck's Containment Priest, then that's like cool for them, and we will lose to that, but doesn't look like a Containment Priest. It's an Archon of Absolution. Right, I might just be locked now. I can't cast spells. I can't attack them. Alright, we need our wastelands. Let's go to the next one. Okay, cool. I didn't think about Archon of Absolution. Aim my wastes. I like my griefs post board though. So I'm going to drop the Stinkweed Imp. I've been going to drop a Thug, and I'm going to drop one more thing. I don't want it to be Noxious, but maybe it's just Noxious, you know? Or do I just go down to like not many dredges? What's this? 11 dredges? 11's loads of dredges. 11's loads of dredges. Well, actually, it should definitely be a dredge return. Where's my Thug? Okay, never mind. Bazaar on 7. Yeah. Cool. We'll keep this. Again, we've got Noxious. We don't have a Dredger right now, but we do get the first activation. There's a Dredger. So, Dredger, 2 Amalgams. We've got a Noxious for our Bazaar. We've got Vigor for their nonsense if we want it. And this looks like a good start, provided no Containment Priests. Noxious can pick up the Sickening Shoals. Mox Pearl, wow. Mox Pearl in 1 and Mox Pearl in 1 and in 2 and Lotus in the other one. So that's quite cool for them. And let's just sorcery speed the Containment Priest, which is cool. That's fine. I've got the Noxious, so I can just dredge and go nuts. The issue is Narcomoebas at this point. But let's hope that we hit a Sickening Shoal in the top, whatever. No Sickening Shoal there. There's a Sickening Shoal here, which means I can do stuff. Nothing's coming into play this turn though. But I kind of still want to kill it, because if I get like wasted or anything like that. So I'll discard the Imp and the 2 Serum Powders. I'll now Noxious my Sickening Shoal to the top of my deck. And now I'll kill your Priest. So no Dredge here. Let's kill your Priest and pass the turn. So now if we get powdered, not powdered, if we get wastelanded, it doesn't matter. What does matter is second Priest. Second Priest is a big problem. Archon of Absolution, we can beat face up. We can't beat Archon Thalia. We don't have an Icarid in our graveyard. Our hand's been quite reactive. Or our dredges have been like a lot of our reactive cards rather than our offensive cards. If we just chuck a Grizzlebrand into play next turn, that'd be sick as well. So, second priest. Second priest is an issue. Into Archon. Archon doesn't really do anything. So, how do we play this then? How do we play this? One shoal has gone. My creatures can't come into play. I think I take a draw step. Stinkweed Imp. Okay, so let's activate and basically take draw steps until we find a Noxious or a Shell. Bridge from below. I'll just discard the bridge and the Narc. Okay. We could be in trouble here. They've got 2 cards and 1 billion mana. They're going to get in for 4. We're going to go to 14. Basic planes and a passing of the turn. So they've got like Solitude open if they want it. Let's just take a draw step again. Sickening Shoal. Okay. That's cool. So let's pass the turn. We're going to pass the turn because if they do cast another spell, then their Archon's going to be detrimental to them, right? Okay, so they're going to attack us. We're going to go to 10, and we're going to shoal the priest on end step. They've played a Moxjet, so we're not going to Sickening Shoal the priest on end step. We're going to Sickening Shoal the priest now. And exile Stinkweed Imp from our hand. Because they're locked under the Archon as well. Right? So, bridge triggers. Do we care? Not really. And now we can just flip our deck over. So Stinkweed Imp. I just need 1 Narc Amoeba from this lot. Shambling Shell. Shit. No Narcs is really annoying. Because that would have brought back the Amalgams on their end step here. No Icarids either. Tough breaks. Let's just dredge then. I've got 30 cards. They've got 1 card. If it's a Containment Priest, we'll lose. That's certainly a thing that can be true here. There's 2 Narc Amoebas. Here's the test. That is not... Does not look like an opponent who's passing the test. So Narc Amoebas go nuts. Amalgams set up to come in from the sidelines. Golgari Grave Troll gets back into my hand. How many bridges are in my graveyard? I already cast a spell this turn. Did I just yield through my whole turn? Why couldn't I cast a spell? Oh, because I didn't have therapies. I didn't have 3 creatures, so my Dredge turns didn't exist. So that's good. We've kind of recovered here. And Terror of the Peaks should resolve all of our problems. I believe. There's 2 Icarids, so I think we look good. They need to Containment Priest on our upkeep here in response to these Icarid triggers. So I'm not going to do any more work that I don't have to do, right? So that's an Icarid. That's an Icarid. Draw step. Let's dredge something fun. Stinkweed Imp looks great. Get a Narc. And how much damage is this? Doesn't look like enough, does it? So we're only attacking for 18. Doesn't sound very fun. Give me a Terror of the Peaks then. Always yield to these nerds. And then I am holding. Oh, one spell a turn, Josh. Come on. Okay, so let's go. Do I want to go to combat or do I want to go to end step? Let's just attack with 2 Icarids. But we should be pretty good from here. The Icarids aren't like particularly appealing to block, but okay, maybe they are. What was it if I just waited? 12? Yeah, maybe that was way better. One spell a turn was annoying. I just completely didn't think of that. So my bridges trigger. Oh no, hang on. One spell a turn. Do I only have one bridge? Okay, I'm so stupid. Alright, so let's just bink you then. Well, I've not played this particularly well, but I think the Terror of the Peaks is going to get sorted out quite nicely. Let's hit your Archon of Emeria. And then... Okay, they need Tabernacle at Pendle Vale now. There was a lot of better ways to sequence that. But otherwise it looks fine. Cool. We get a trophy. I wasn't expecting to get a trophy, but that was a fun deck. We got to do some of the fun things. I didn't really play around those Archons particularly well at the end here. But yeah, a Lurrus free league with some stick plays, a turn 1 Grizzlebrand, a 27/27 Golgari Grave Troll. All in all, pretty cool. So I don't know how the Poxwalkers really performed in this list, above and beyond how it would have performed in as a few other like Street Race or something like that. But I kind of liked it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.